A few years ago, I probably wouldn't have bothered with this at all. I'd connect to a protocol, sign whatever approval it asked for, do the swap, maybe stake or bridge assets somewhere else, and then move on to the next thing without thinking twice about it. The problem is, none of those approvals disappear when the transaction is over. They just stay there. And after enough time in crypto, that's where things start getting difficult to track. Nobody remembers every protocol they interacted with 6 months ago. What made me pay attention to this was seeing the same pattern over and over again. Someone notices their tokens are gone and immediately assumes the wallet got compromised. Then later, it turns out an old approval was still active from a project they completely forgot about. In some cases, the protocol ended up being malicious. In other cases, the contract was exploited long after people stopped using it. Either way, the result is the same. That forgotten approval becomes the entry point. And honestly, that's not a situation I want to discover after the fact. So before moving assets around, I prefer knowing exactly what's still connected to the wallet. That's why I'm making this video. The method I'm using works with Metamask, Trust Wallet, Phantom, and basically any wallet that interacts with EVM networks or TRON. Doesn't really matter which one's being used because the workflow stays pretty much the same. So instead of manually hunting through blockchain activity, this platform does the heavy lifting, scans the wallet, identifies active permissions, highlights contracts that deserve attention, and gives me the ability to revoke them without turning it into a full research project. And after testing it myself multiple times, it became the tool I trust whenever I want a quick approval audit. So let's get into it. The first thing I'm doing is connecting the wallet I want to review. Platform pulled the approval data and checked what's currently active on this address, and now I'm looking at multiple active approvals associated with this wallet. A few of them are showing elevated risk indicators. That's exactly the type of thing I wanted visibility on. Now sure, I could open every contract individually and investigate them one by one, but here's the reality. I don't even remember where some of these came from anymore. And if I can't immediately explain why a permission still needs access to my wallet, keeping it there doesn't really make sense. So rather than leaving old approvals hanging around indefinitely, I'm just gonna revoke everything that no longer serves a purpose. And there it is. Everything completed successfully. All those unnecessary permissions have been removed. No random approvals from protocols I haven't touched in ages, no forgotten contracts sitting in the background, no permissions that are still active simply because I never got around to cleaning them up. And honestly, that's the biggest benefit for me, not having to wonder anymore. Because the concern isn't the approvals I know about, it's the approvals I forgot existed. Once they're gone, I know there isn't some old contract waiting in the background with access it doesn't need anymore. That alone makes managing the wallet feel a lot more comfortable. All right, that's pretty much everything I wanted to show. Hopefully the process was easy to follow and gave a better idea of why approval management is something worth paying attention to. If any questions come up afterward, feel free to leave them below and I'll check them out.